Hello everyone, my name is Hanyi. I come from Shanghai Jiao Tong University. I'm glad to be here to introduce you about our recent work, how to model the bribery attack, a practical quantification method in blockchain. The presentation will be divided into 5 parts: background, quantitative analysis, model design, experiment, and the conclusion. Start from the background. In recent years, blockchain has not only become a heated topic in the economic sphere, but also the focus of attackers. Blockchain is in competition between honest miners and attackers. There are some types of attacks, such as 51% attack, selfish mining, and so on. However, sometimes it is difficult for an attacker to have enough hash power to launch an attack. So the bribery attack was brought up. Bribery attack assumes that some miners in the blockchain act rationally. Attackers can bribe those rational miners to join the attack. In this case, attacker needs to pay additional bribery fee, but can improve the attack success rate. However, those bribery attack models lack quantitative analysis, such as in bribery cost, hash power, or the expected gains to compare them. So, based on the background, our goal in this work are firstly propose a quantitative analysis method for bribery attack models. Secondly, establish a new model of bribery attack and experimentally prove its feasibility. And finally, we propose a possible defensive strategy for the bribery attack. For the bribery attack, we study how to use it to launch a double spending. This is also its most likely usage. In a quantitative analysis, we divided the participating miners into 3 categories, and their goals remained unchanged for the duration of the attack. The first is the attacker. Attacker A wants to launch a double spending through bribery attack. And secondly is the honest miner. Honest miner H always abides by the rules of the agreement and then do not accept bribes. The third one is rational miners. Rational miners aims to maximize its short-term profits, and they may accept bribes to help attacker. A figure shows the attack process of how to launch a double spending using bribery attack. The first, state A. State A refers to the beginning state. Tx is the target transaction, and Ty is the double spending transaction. What attacker wants to do is to cover Tx with Ty. State B and C represent the possible cases of attack process. Whenever a new block is added to the private chain, the low one, the attacker will pay a bribery fee, TBI, to the rational miner. TBI is in different forms in different bribery attack models. And the state D and E. D and E are under conditions where the target transaction Tx has been confirmed. When the length of the private chain overtakes the main one, the briber can public the private chain and abolish the target transaction Tx with Ty. Otherwise, the attacker will choose to continue the attack or end it. For existing models, we use 7 metrics to analyze them. The first 2 metrics, attacker hash rate and the malicious hash rate, affect the success rate of the attack, and the middle 2 metrics affect the payment method of bribery fees, such as inbound, outbound, or using smart contract. And the latter 3 metrics affect the attacker's gains and costs. What interests us most is the cost of those bribery attacks. Is the expected cost of one model. B is the reward for a new block, and K is the number of blocks the attacker behind, and delta is the coefficient which determines the value of the bribery fee, which is not exactly same in all bribery attacks. And C is the operational fee, such as using smart contract. In a double spending, there is an upper limit on the possible gains of the attacker. The bribery cost is too high compared to the gains, which means the attacker's benefits were rarely considered in the previous bribery attack models. Therefore, the decision-making process of rational miner is worth considering. When the attacker chain is lagged behind the main chain by Z blocks, a rational miner has 2 choices. Mining on the attacker branch, attack success rate is PB. Mining on the main branch, attack success rate is PM. Alpha and the alpha is the hash power of attacker, and beta is the hash power of rational miner. We can think that the rational miner will choose to mine on the private chain when he can get more expected gains in the private chain. So, when the hash power is fixed, what an attacker wants to do is to reduce the bribery fee to make himself profitable. So we design a new bribery model based on the followed assumption. The briber and begin attack after the target transaction was included in a block, and he continues changing bribery fees during the attack. And the rational miners, he will compare benefits from the attacker's branch and the main branch to make decisions. Here is the bribery process. First is the beginning of the attack. The briber mines the first block on the private chain, using the last block to start the attack. At this point, the private chain is already Z blocks behind. Second is the process of the attack. When a new block is added into private chain, the attacker always offers a new bribery fee to the rational miner, and the rational miner make choices between mining on the main chain or private chain. Then is the result of the attack. The attack will end when it succeeds, or the chance of success is slim. And then is the profit calculation. In the attack process, rational miner not only consider the expected gains of the next block, but also the expected gains of the whole attack process. Rational miner's profit of mining on main chain is Rm, which can be shown as follows. And the profit mining on the private chain is RB, which is as follows, in which V is the transaction payment of TX, the target transaction. K is the blocks mined by rational miners in the main chain, and L is the blocks mined by rational miner in private chain. Bribery's profit is R, which shows as follows. If an attacker wants to benefit from the attack, the briber must surely guarantee the profit to be more than 0, which is shown in the inequality. And from the inequality, the briber can calculate the max bribery fee he can pay in the next block, which is delta max. And we suppose the real bribery fee for the next block is delta. Delta equal to theta and delta max, where theta is the revenue coefficient. We use experiment to validate our models. We use transaction payment V, revenue coefficient theta, and the hash power alpha and beta as the variables. We simulate 10,000 times for each group of input, and count the number of failures, and calculate the briber's absolutely gains and briber's relative gains. Here is some result. With the same theta and V, we simulate different groups of different alpha and beta. From the table, we can see that the less the hash power alpha plus beta, the more error times, the fewer the absolutely and relevant gains. And with the same hash power, same total hash power, the reduction of alpha only influences the absolutely gains and the relative gains. So it is rational because more hash power attacker has, more gains he can get. With same alpha and y alpha, beta, and theta, we show the impact of transaction payment V. From the experiment result, we can see that with the increase of V, the absolute gains increase and the relative gains decrease. So when an attacker tries to launch a double spending using bribery attack, he needs to choose the right payment V to make his profit max. And from the experiment result A, we show the impact of revenue coefficient theta. We can see the absolutely gains decrease with the increase of theta. However, from result C, we can see the absolutely gains has a peak because result A is alpha plus beta is 49%, and result C is alpha plus beta is 33%. So we explain this because when alpha and beta is small, the bigger theta can increase the attack success rate, which in return increase attacker's absolute gains. Another experiment is attacker attack gains and errors with confirmation blocks changes. From the experimental result, it is obviously that more confirmation blocks means less gains and more errors. So a possible defensive strategy for bribery attack is increased confirmation blocks. And our contribution. In this work, we proposed a quantitative analysis method for existing bribery attack models, and we designed a new bribery attack model experimentally show its feasibility. Finally, we propose a possible defensive strategy. Thank you. If you have any questions, please contact with the next email.